Happy April 28th.
Wow, that was fast, wasn't it?
I know, right? Since our last show in
Thank you.
March.
Oh my God, yes. So, hello everyone. Welcome to Town Square Talk, Season 2, Episode 4, where we are honoring Mother Earth. Our show for this particular the month of April is called For the Love of Mother Earth. We recently celebrated Earth Day. I hope that you did. If you did, we'd love to hear it. Put it in the chat box as to how you celebrated Earth Day in your city and in your home. I'm Pat Albuquerque, and I am here with Pearl Pang, excuse me, as we are hosting our show on the love of Mother Earth. I am a business strategist, author, and speaker. Author of the best-selling book Catherine's Quest:
Yeah.
One Woman's Journey to Elation.
hmm
Yay! And Pearl is a dear friend of mine, and this love of this show came as a brainstorm. It came as a brainstorming idea as we were hearing from our clients, from our family and friends, uh, what COVID was doing to their environment, their business, and how many people were having a hard time coping with COVID-19. So we said, let's do something that will empower, that will educate, that will help people take action, grow, and succeed in their life and their business. So, Pearl, please introduce yourself.
My name is Pearl Pang. I'm a CXO advisor, strategist, and a speaker. And today we have a guest speaker, my best friend for, oh my goodness, over 3 decades, Susan Evans. Susan has been truly a good friend of mine for so long, and I am honored to introduce her to our show. She is a passionate environmental advocate, energy engineer, and recruiter. Armed with an MBA from Boston University, Susan has helped companies achieve their hiring goals by consistently providing the highest standards of service and great customer experience for over 25 years. A LEED, AP, LEED stands for Leadership in Environment and Energy Design accredited professional. Susan has helped energy conservation companies hire talents and has been actively volunteering in community charitable cases, particularly in energy saving projects and in environmental preservation. She is creative, she is proactive, entrepreneurial, and highly skilled in business development with proven track records. Susan is a triathlete, and she has competed 4 years in a row in Massachusetts since 2017. She won first place in 2019, second in 2020, and plans to compete again this year.
Wow. What
Susan.
an amazing story and bio on Susan. So thank you for joining us, Susan.
Pleasure to be
So
here.
one of the things that we thank you for being here. And one of the ways that we start our show is in gratitude. It just sets a positive energy for the show. It brings some positive energy into this particular space that we're all in. And so I would just like for everyone to share something that they're grateful for. And we'd like to start with you, Susan.
I am grateful for this opportunity. I really so appreciate it, Pat and Pearl, that you invited me here to talk about one of my favorite things in the world. And it's the world, or we call it the Earth, of course, from a planetary perspective. So thank you.
Yes. Love it. Pearl, how about you?
Well, I am so grateful for the friendship that I have with Susan, of course, and as well as you, Pat. And it's really amazing to be able to have the show to honor our Mother Earth and talk about the actions that everyone can take to make a difference. And Over to you, Pat. What are you grateful for?
Yeah, and I am grateful that I get to interact with Mother Earth every day. I have a big backyard with a beautiful rose garden and old wise trees that really bring me joy. And so I'm grateful for that. So Lee, thank you. Thank you for sharing. So my question is for you. So how did you become so passionate about environmental preservation?
From as long as I can remember, my mother used to tell me, go out and play. Spring, summer, fall, winter, go out and play. And I think because I spent so much time outside as a kid, I just got totally enamored with nature and totally engaged in it. I lived in a dead-end street on a suburban town outside of Philadelphia, and used to, with all the neighborhood kids, went down to the woods and climbed the trees, chased the butterflies, catch the frogs in the pond, and ate wild blackberries. And and then after that, my mother enrolled me in Girl Scouts, and I was a Girl Scout until a senior in high school, because the leader always booked our campsite right down the trail from the Boy Scouts. So she was pretty smart. So that's really how I and I'm a very curious kid. And so I just fell in love with nature.
Wow. You know, it's been a while since I've met someone who stayed in the Girl Scouts until they were a senior in high school. So that's to be commended. Yeah. You
That's just
loved.
a lot. It says commitment.
That does a lot. It does. It really does say a lot. So now to the question I had started with. How did you turn your love of nature into a hobby?
Well, at one point in my career, I said, you know, I have to really pursue what's in my heart. And while I love recruiting and matching people up with the right company and the right job, I also had this yearning to do something for the environment. And so I reached out to a number of energy executives in the Boston area, and they advised me to take the Certified Energy Manager course, which I did. And that's where I really discovered that I could make a difference. I joined an organization that helped churches and temples become more energy efficient. I did it for my own church, and I've continued to do that in my community now. So that's how, and I spend I spend probably 10 or 15 hours a week of my own time volunteering for that cause.
Oh my goodness, I can totally vouch for that. Not to mention, she invites me every now and then, especially when I was still living in Massachusetts. So we totally loved those type of gathering. It was so heartwarming and so connecting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Pearl had to attend some of the events that I put on about energy efficiency. Good for her. She is a one supportive friend, right?
Yeah, exactly. Great support and just expansion, you know, the opportunity that you offered for her to really expand her awareness. Let's take a deep dive into what you term as client balance versus what we typically hear in the media as climate change. And what does that mean for you?
Okay, well, climate change, as most of us understand, is to be that there's too much carbon in the atmosphere. So I like to look at it as where we aspire to go to, which is to bring that carbon down and the oxygen up, and eventually get us back to a climate balance where all of us creatures, what two-legged, four-legged, and all our plants and species can live and thrive in a balanced climate. Because that's where we started. That's exactly where we started.
And then we went from there into the introduction of kerosene, oil.
How we really took it apart, and how
how did we take it apart?
How did we change the balance? How did we get off balance? Mm-hmm. And there's generally it was the introduction of fossil fuel into our economy, where oil was brought out of the ground and first refined up in northwestern Pennsylvania. From there, we had kerosene, and then of course Henry Ford. And then cars here, cars there, cars internationally, trucks, buses, and then we really entered into industrial revolution, where factories, all these facilities, and our own homes are now heated with fossil fuel, all emitting carbon into the environment, which wasn't really part of the original plan, I don't think. The other side of it, so you can see the carbon went in, really increased in the environment because of those man-made and man-induced use of fossil fuel. And then on the other side, taking the oxygen out of the environment. I mean, everybody knows, I hope you understand, that when trees, all plants on Earth, take in carbon and give off oxygen. So we have, according to the National Forest Service, 36 million trees are cut down a year due to development, highways, houses, buildings, whatever. And also phytoplankton in the ocean provides us with 50% of our oxygen, and they are being threatened because of climate change and warming the water. So, and plus our farmland gets tilled bare. So there's no plants giving off oxygen in our farmland, and it's planted in rows, not thoroughly covered. And so that's where the oxygen levels that contribute to the environment have decreased as well. All human induced.
That's right. And what are some actions that a small business and a family can take to start reversing this trend?
One of them, any action that we take, the most effective one will be to get us off of fossil fuel and reduce the use of fossil fuel, with our heating. But one of the most important things that we can do, and people don't know this, that your electricity, in fact, is powered by mostly natural gas or coal. And by contacting your electric company, you can change that to being sourced from renewable resources like solar, wind turbines, or even hydro, which is dams that provide electricity. I mean, you probably have seen in the last couple of years more and more solar farms being erected, right?
Yes.
Well, they call them utility scale. So that's what the utilities use now to provide the average homeowner or even a commercial building owner an opportunity to get their electricity from a renewable resource. So, and that can reduce a homeowner's footprint as much as 35% of your home energy.
Wow.
That's a great point.
That's significant.
And
It is really significant.
right.
And it's generally available through most utilities, and it's not widely advertised. And all you have to do is call your utility or go on their website and find out how to do it. Just one telephone call. That's it. And then, of course, to really find out the strategy for your house or any building would be to get an energy audit. Many of those through your utility are free as well. And change your heating system over to generally an appliance called a heat pump, but minimizing your fossil fuel again, oil, gas, and propane. And LED lights, they are all excellent strategies for your building, whether it's your office building or your home. Because I know many of you may have, if your consultants have your office in your home.
Yep.
And you've been at home maybe too through the pandemic, right? Most of them have been hanging out.
Well, yeah, that's changed, hasn't it? And I think you bring a point really that hits close to home now with all of us working at home now. And my husband and I are definitely replacing all our light bulbs. Are really dedicated to that.
Mhm.
Well, I bet most of us have seen an increase in our utility bills over the pandemic. So it's even more important to try to address this. The other primary source of carbon emissions is our automobile.
Yeah.
So as soon as we all can get transitioned over to a hybrid or electric vehicle is going to make a big difference
Yeah,
in
I
our
think so too. And you know, I'd like to ask,
energy carbon emissions as well.
I'd-
And that's going to take a transition time
Yeah.
because not everybody right now is going to sell the car they just bought and buy an electric car, but it will eventually move into the economy. And of course, we have to get electric charging machines out there in the public so people will have a resource of energy when they're out and about.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And you know, one of the things that is very common for us all that we don't even think about is just all the electronics and technology that we have in our home and that we just kind of pile up in a box in a corner somewhere because we don't know what to do with it.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know that is amazing. And sometimes at the local, that the recycling center that your town offers, sometimes they don't take electronics, but if you go onto your internet and just search, there are private companies that will take electronics and they break them down and they do sell the components because there are some valuable metals in a lot of the components and they can sell them. So there's resources to be able to do that even if your town doesn't provide it for you.
Yeah, that's
I
all.
think it's important really to get your energy audit, as you said, that calling your um, right, energy supplying company to really get that done. And out of that, you will get more advice as well based on the usage and how that compares to your neighborhood and so on. So,
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you can get that. The other thing that is with some of the audits that are available free through the utilities, they will give you LED lights
yes,
and power strips
yeah,
free.
yeah, we were offered actually when we were back in Massachusetts. So here it's all done already. So anyhow, those are really very, very important points to follow on. It's easy to do, just one phone call away.
And even after you get a thorough audit on your house, there are major discounts that they offer through a separate agency that's related to the utility. So you might not know, but on your electric bill, there's a little line on it. It's called Energy Conservation Fund. And when you pay your electric bill, it goes into this fund where the utility pays this third party to go out and do the free audits and give away the free LED lights and the power strips. So we're sort of paying for it already. We just got to take advantage of it.
Wow, those are great ideas. If you, whoever's listening, if you just take just one of those ideas, it can make a big difference. So take a look and see which of these ideas resonate with you and just pick one idea.
Yeah, and even the compost food waste, it's not hard to do either.
Yeah, absolutely.
Composting is definitely a way to regenerate the soil, and it can make a big difference because when you take your food waste to the landfill, it just gives off more carbon emissions and
Right,
methane.
right.
And when you compost it, you mix it in with leaves and you put it back in the soil. It really restores the soil and can put the carbon back in the soil. So it really is a no-brainer when you get to understand the benefit of it.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about some of the recycle stuff because we've done so much in recycling plastic, metal, and even wood, and it's really also included, right, in this earth conservation efforts. So, can you tell us about that a little
I
more,
mean,
please?
we're all quite familiar with what we either take to our transfer station, or perhaps if we live in a city and town where we have green bins that we put on the curbside to pick up plastic, metal, paper, or cardboard. And many of those products are going into products that we get back and that we purchase, like carpet. You might not know they make carpet out of plastic bottles recycled.
That's
So,
amazing.
and even there is a component of fleece, one of the products that we get clothing out of, and that has a component of plastic in it too. So a lot of the plastic is in fact really recycled. There's a company also that makes cinder block type size blocks for construction. They compress down the bottles and they can make 1-story buildings out of it.
Wow.
It's just amazing, how innovative companies are getting to be able to preserve our resources. So one thing that is really an important thing, and there's so much furniture, used and very reusable furniture that goes into the landfills.
Mm.
Here in the community I live in Massachusetts, there is an organization that takes furniture that's in reusable condition, and they may even repair a little bit, and they give it to needy people. They have a huge warehouse in my community. And there's more and more of those organizations that are available. And if you, instead of putting something out on your curb, I mean, you do see people put their sofa out on their curb, put free sign on it, right?
Yes.
And that does get it recycled. But if that doesn't work, get on the internet and just find an organization in your community that will take used furniture.
Wow. I don't think we don't, it doesn't come to us automatically when we want to get rid of furniture to actually do the research to do something like you just said. This is eye-opening for me as well, just learning about that.
It's just a little bit of effort to do it. But if it doesn't even cross your mind to do it, then you'll just say, okay, let's just put it out in the trash.
Yeah.
So I'm asking people to be a little bit more resourceful, a little bit more creative, and just pursue the options to be able to recycle and avoid the landfill. Totally.
Totally, and especially recycling paper too, right? Saving paper can be so easily done, especially in offices, and there's so many different technologies that we can use as well. So it's all part of that recycle effort.
Yeah, for my own printer here, there is an option on your printer that you can print on both sides.
Yes.
And some people might not be aware of that either. It's when you click on print, it's on that properties box that comes up, and you just click on properties and you can indicate print 2 sides. And so most printers these days will do that. And it is a huge paper saver. And then also in my own office here, because I need a screen to review resumes, so I have a pretty good size second monitor where I can put the resume up, and then I can still keep my email on my primary laptop. And that, I know that has saved so much paper, because usually before I would just print them all out to review them. And this way I haven't done that in a long time. So, and most of us, I think these days, with all the things that we're multitasking with on our computers, a second monitor is really helpful and can help you avoid having to print something out. So I highly recommend that. And also you're probably familiar with this application called DocuSign
Yes, I just used it today.
in a method to be able to save paper. You don't have to print it out to sign it. You just sign it electronically and just store it in a folder on your computer, and you'll have it. So there's many, many ways now to be able to save paper. But paper is also one of those very recyclable: paper, cardboard, glass. Plastic, not as much as far as resources or remarket, but cardboard, paper, and glass and metal are easily recycled for most waste disposal companies.
That is great. My husband and I, we use DocuSign quite often, and I'm definitely a proponent of two screens. I don't think I could live without having my both of my monitors, but it does, they've gone down quite a bit in price. So it could be a feasible solution for a family to actually put up a second monitor and actually, save on the paper, because I'm a very visual person. So I have been one in the habit of printing things out and be able to make notes and compare from printed documents. So it's encouraging that you bring up the thought of two monitors, don't print, just bring them both up and make use of what you have technology wise to help you with that.
It is an adjustment in how you work, because when I look at a resume now, I used to print it out and take a yellow highlighter so I could highlight the candidate's optimal skills. And now I just do it on my computer, just highlight with with the function of Word.
Yep.
So yeah, it takes a while to adjust to that behavior, but you can do it.
It's actually so much more convenient too. So you don't have to worry about shuffling the paper and all that other stuff, and also saving on the ink. So much more to think about. So there's actually a couple other things that I'd like to kind of touch on. I'm going to share your slide again. There's also planting trees and using the low flow shower head. There, all these different yet easy thing to do. And I love planting trees. Imagine the outings, right? And
yeah. Well, trees are, they contribute. The best part about trees or any plants is because they use carbon, do their photosynthesis trick. I can hardly get that word out sometimes. And, then they give off oxygen. So when you plant more trees, you're just providing the earth the ability to give back to us.
Yes.
It's really, so at our church, I'm on the building committee, and people always want to cut down trees or trim off limbs. And I'm like, no, we need those trees. We need those leaves because they give us back oxygen. So we're now we did have some damaged trees we had to take down because they were threatening a building, but now we're looking at replanting probably about 8 or 10 trees on one side of our church right now to help, regenerate our oxygen contribution to the environment.
Thinking about it holistically, right? Making that policy, the sustainability part of the business, which is the last bullet there with the 2 sub bullets, getting a green captain, or maybe multiple green captains, make it fun. You can, do that with family members as well, and sponsoring volunteerism, and that can really make a huge difference.
Sustainability is getting to be a business trend. And I hang out with sustainability, but I'm sure you too, right, have heard more and more. You read about it in so many business periodicals and on the internet about how corporations are committing to sustainability these days, and that it is becoming part of a corporation's marketing brand to be committed to sustainability. And so in many, many corporations now, they'll have a director of sustainability or a green captain, as we tagged it here, where they really establish a total policy for a company, not just recycling paper or any other cans, bottles in their office, but they have done an energy audit for their office or their building, but also they will even get to the depth of looking at their purchasing patterns to make sure that the items that they purchase for their product or for their office come within a 500-mile range, so that the transportation even to get the product to their office is minimal. And they call that, the total carbon footprint of a product starts from where it's shipped from, not just what it's made of. And so companies will revamp their purchasing policies in that way, as well as recycling paper and some of those other internal things. And the other very important part about it is to publicize it on your website, because your customers will get to see how you are committed to the environment. And it is even becoming very important for employees to be attracted
you're right.
to a company. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and one of our, Pearl and I had a session on just the new technology and what people are looking for. And many millennials are very focused on working for companies that are earth friendly. They
Yes.
want to know that they're working for a company that really is going to honor Mother Earth.
Right.
And I think it's a great just it's good for a business culture, and to embrace it and actually, make sure everybody knows how that you are committed.
It's the corporate social responsibilities.
Oh, exactly.
So, and honoring Mother Earth is totally one of the responsibilities that companies need to embrace, not only embrace and totally execute, right, more and more. And that creates a lot of the connectivity, also boosts the company's goodwill and image, and it would hopefully attract and retain the talents as well. And it's really a long term and a good way to have it as part of the policy.
Yeah.
One of the many other things that a company can do to promote their sustainability corporate brand is to go as a group and join a river cleanup project or some other community effort that is right along promoting and helping the environment. And so I highly recommend that if you,
I'd be right there.
yeah,
how fun though, right? What a neat project.
yeah, oh, absolutely. Oh no, outing like that is boost morale.
Sure.
It's so it's a contagious kind of thing for employees to participate in that. So I highly recommend that when you do an event like that, make sure you get a corporate t-shirt so that everybody else that's out there can see that your company is making a difference for the environment. And that's a big part about promoting your brand.
Absolutely.
For your company. Because people really see it as the right thing to do. And the other aspect of it is, besides promoting your brand, we really need to make a bigger commitment to the environment because of the long-term fiscal responsibility. There have been so many studies and also advocacy groups that have put together reports saying how much climate change has destroyed our communities. It's so expensive to rebuild. And so by treating the environment right, caring for Mother Earth, we really are helping the whole world be fiscally responsible for our neighbors. And it's just an important big picture perspective for sure.
It's really boils down to behavioral changes, right, Susan and Pat?
Yes, I totally agree with that. Yes.
So, there are also quite a few ways that we can change in our behaviors too easily to conserve some more energy and making changes.
Yeah, just simple stuff. And it really has to do with, well, certainly cost saving is a motivator.
Mm.
But it's really thinking about adjusting our behavior so that we think about mankind in general, you know. But I mean, look at these very simple things. Turning off lights or appliances when you're not needed. That's just a simple thing, and we just don't think about when we leave a room to turn off the light switch, right?
Yeah. My dad was really good about that.
Yep.
He would remind us, don't leave any lights on.
Yeah. Yeah, my father used to say, like, in the wintertime, we'd come in and we wouldn't shut the door, and he'd say, "What do you think? You live in a barn?" I mean, he was always trying to get us to turn the lights off. And back then, energy wasn't so much of a top of mind for me. I was just hugging trees at that time, right?
And
Yeah.
Pat, you and I are in sunny weathers, right?
Yes, we are in sunny weather. So, we have the option. I'm looking at one of the suggestions here
Yeah.
is actually hanging our clothes out and having a dry and fresh air
Mm.
and just, bring, I mean, I grew up with uh, the line, right? The clothesline,
Yeah.
and I actually enjoyed hanging clothes. I have one of my best friends. She will not dry any of her clothes, and I've known her since she was in the second grade, and she will not dry any of her clothes. And so every home she's moved into, she's installed a line to hang her clothes. So we can save a lot there with our dryer as well as hand washing.
And
You
I
know, our
love so that sun dry
Oh
smell.
yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah.
smells so good. Yeah, it is, and it feels good. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I live in a condo and I have a clothes rack.
Mm.
Mhm.
I just, you can hang a whole little wash on it,
You can.
and it just collapses down, and I put it in my closet. And
Mhm.
the good part about it too in the winter is that when your clothes dry, that they give off the humidity goes in your air. So it really, in fact, makes your home environment or your living environment more healthy for yourself.
I
But
hadn't thought about that, because so many of us install humidifiers. And so we actually have a natural humidifier. If we just, even just dry our clothes inside our home, that's a great idea. I hadn't thought about that.
Mm.
Mhm.
yeah, so there's quite a few good ways that we can really and I think it is just the top of mind consciousness.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really ultimate of tree huggers. So I carry a cloth napkin in my purse. So when I go to Dunkin' Donuts or any takeout place, I just say, sorry, I don't need a napkin. And you better believe it, I never take a plastic straw, right?
Yeah.
And just it's taking a plastic straw, it's going to go into the waste stream, and we don't know where it's going to go. So if you don't take it from the beginning,
Yeah.
hopefully some straw manufacturer is going to get the idea, hey, you know what, my plastic straws aren't selling, so I guess I better make something else, right? It's just how it is, a consciousness of what we do. Certainly reusable shopping bags. I mean, the single use shopping bags, I have seen a couple videos where a turtle is in the ocean and they think it's a jellyfish, which is their dinner, and they grab onto a plastic bag and they ingest half of it. That just,
Yeah, that's sad.
that is just really, so we have no idea. I mean, the amount of trash that we put in that ocean every year is tons.
Mm.
And so anything we can do to detour something from going into the waste stream, well, even being recycled,
Yeah.
reuse, reduce, recycle is the best motto to go by.
And
when-
really with COVID-19 and the requirement to wear masks, that's where we really also need to be conscious about that, because I've seen the different commercials and documentaries on, turtles, or birds having the mask tied around their neck, because people were just really careless with it in the ocean or the beaches.
And even if you recycle it, I mean, you can put it in the, you should cut the plastics or the elastic straps off. So there is no way it's going to get caught around an animal's leg or neck or whatever. Right. It's yeah. Okay. Yeah. On the bottom part, there are Energy Star appliances.
Mm-hmm.
It's a blue and white and silver logo when you go to buy an appliance. So make sure you look for that. And the Energy Star logo is a federal government program.
Nice.
And a standardized brand and programmable thermostats. Certainly you can program them according to the time that you're going to be at your office, except these days we're all around, we're home all the time. So
yes,
but still you can program them. You can program so that they will go be lowered in the evening. You can do that. And I did mention the power strips before. I mean, we have so many electronics on our desk, right? I have a printer, I have 2 laptops, a monitor, and then also the router for my internet, and I have it all plugged into a power strip. So at night, I just turn the power strip off.
Oh, nice.
So none of my appliances through the night are drawing any electricity.
What do they call that? Is it phantom load or something? Electricity still?
Oh yeah, because even if you have a appliance plugged into the wall, even though the appliance is off, it still does draw electricity. It's not much, but it all adds up.
Yeah,
yes, it does.
So if you use a power strip, I mean, it's easy. You just turn that red button off every night, and you're going to turn off that phantom electrical demand, Pearl, like you mentioned. Yeah, that we don't even think about. Yeah, and I also want to mention, from my own personal experience, I have, of course, a low flow shower head. But just so you have an idea, the difference between a normal shower head, they're about 3 gallons per minute or more, and a low flow shower head will give out about 1.5 gallons. So, and we figured it out, on average, people showers about 10 minutes. So you can save almost more than 20 gallons of water in one shower. And who knows with teenagers, right?
They love long showers.
I mean, they take half hour showers, right?
Put a timer, and so you have to finish your shower in 15 minutes, or set a timer on you. There is a lot to really take into consideration, and there's simple little things that we can do. So heating and cooling, right? Really controlling the thermostat. What are some ideas here?
Yeah, as far as I mean, thermostats, it's just really learning how to adjust the time so that you can adjust it to your schedule, so that when you're not needing the heat and you're not around, you won't be wasting the energy, whether it's electricity or your fossil fuel.
And
I mean, there are other ways that insulation in your house, and that would be determined when you have an energy audit in your house.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will tell you though, the reducing the use of your heat and also changing your electricity over to 100% renewable is the most impactful way. Heating your house or insulating your house will give you more climate or creature comfort, I call it. You will feel the benefit more than your pocketbook. but it's still a critical thing that you can do. And when you have an energy audit, you will get a very comprehensive report on what you can do for insulation in your house and saving. Even new windows make a difference as well. New windows, anything that you do to insulate your walls, or it's insulating the wall between the space that you occupy and the space that you're not occupying.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, that's a good put. And of course, you had mentioned energy efficient appliances, and there's two figures that are actually on an appliance. I don't know if a lot of people really pay attention to these two numbers: initial purchase price and then the annual operating cost. Tell us about that.
are just like any typical consumer, we just compare the price tag
Mhm.
right at the time of purchase.
Yep.
Right? But it's really the maintaining and 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 taking care of that appliance or even that building.
Mhm.
You know, many owners look at this lead process of buying a building that's totally energy efficient because it might be a little bit more expensive, but it's the maintenance down the road that makes the difference.
Mhm.
And so if you might buy an appliance that is Energy Star rated, it might be a little bit more expensive, but in the long run,
Yeah.
during your ownership of that appliance, it will use less energy. And so over generally it's a very short period of time, maybe 2 years, that you'll get your money back
Wow, that's
on
good.
an appliance like that. But that's a good point to think about, Pat,
Mhm.
because your cost has to be based, or your evaluation of a purchase has to be based on not only your initial purchase, but what it's going to cost for you to maintain that and use that product too. So it's important important
Sometimes,
aspect of way to look at any purchases in that
yes,
regard.
we call it total cost of ownership, right? So it's
Exactly.
upfront.
Even, even an electric car, it's the same thing.
Yep.
It might be a little bit more expensive, but to operate it, you will spend a lot less money in gasoline,
Yep.
down the road.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
and maintenance, engine maintenance, as I understand too, makes a difference in a hybrid or a electric car versus a gasoline powered engine. So it's a different way of looking at things. And
Right.
this whole energy care for your earth is a different way of looking at things, which is, we really have to teach ourselves how to do that. It's different. It's not what we're used to. We've grown into these consumer habits and just throw it out and get a new one versus repair or reuse it in some way.
Mhm.
And we just have to be able to change our ways about how we live so that we can sustain this earth, not just for today and tomorrow, but generations.
Yes.
I know Pearl's got a daughter, and I have three nieces and two great nephews, and so I'm so motivated to make sure that they're going to have clean air, clean water, and a beautiful environment to live with on this earth, in their lives too. So we have to think about the generations to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So we've talked about a number of solutions, and all these solutions are, applicable at home and in the business. And we've talked really just about the community as a whole in the small space. So let's take a look at what that would look like globally, and what is happening at the global level that we should be aware of, and that our listeners can really participate in a major initiative that really will make a difference. And for me, the first thing that comes up is supporting government agencies that are working on environmental preservation. And I know you probably know quite a few of them, Susan, that you've been a part of.
Well, right here in my community, I'm active in an organization that is called the Acton Climate Coalition. But there's one other organization that has international impact. Well, there are numerous environmental organizations. There's one called the Nature Conservancy. It is an international, not-for-profit organization. They have operations in 72 countries around the world. And they'll do something like, they will see that a river ecosystem is off balance. And they will assess it and determine that, you know what, there's 4 dams that were put in this river for years ago for hydroelectric power to fuel a textile mill that's out of business.
Oh, wow.
They will dismantle that dam and restore the ecosystem of the river so the fish can swim all the way up and spawn. So the water along the side rejuvenates all the shorelines. The animals downstream have enough water to live off, and it just totally impacts the ecosystem of that whole river and that community, because many of the animals that used to rely on it will come back. You know, so they do things like that. I mean, they do even bigger things than that, but that's just an example of some of them. And they just got a grant from Jeff Bezos. Has put together a Bezos Earth Fund, and it's $10 billion. He has given 100 million of it to the Nature Conservancy and a number of other international organizations that are doing some wonderful things. And he's still got more money to spend.
That's awesome.
So that's encouraging.
Of course.
And we got more challenges for him too.
And that is totally tax deductible for him too, right? So
Right.
That's a good way.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yes, to donate to all these causes that would help with conservation.
Oh yeah, exactly, Pearl. The Nature Conservancy, I donate to the Nature Conservancy, also a couple of local organizations here to preserve open land and forests so that they don't get developed, because they are critical to our oxygen balance, contributing back to the environment. And so I do that on a local and international level as well.
People can donate financial, they can donate of their time. And honestly, everybody just needs to pitch in. You know, we're doing it for our fellow human beings and the next generation. You know, we've covered a lot of ideas, gals, don't you think?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we sure have. It's been delightful. You know, like I said, I love to talk about this most favorite thing in the world.
And so what we're asking is, if you just take one idea of the things that we covered today, it can be a simple idea as just making sure you turn off the light when you leave the room. So many things can be done. We encourage you to just take one idea. And we do have a couple of websites, and one of them is www.earthday.org. You can learn what's happening in your local community and even at a global level. And then we have another one, I think, what is it called? National, it's NIEH?
Yes, it's the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences. As you can see, I'm sharing on the screen right now, there are so many different initiatives and also information about the various causes and programs that they have. So totally encourage people to check it out. on those two websites.
Yeah. That is a great resource. When we were doing our research, when we got to that website, we were just so surprised at, what is really happening around the world to save Mother Earth. There is a conscious effort. We just have to also just become conscious ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. And folks, if you have any questions whatsoever, Susan Evans is your woman, is your go-to to ask questions. And to reach her, here's her contact information, emailing Susan at susan1010evans@gmail.com.
I'll be
Great.
happy to help.
It's her
Anything to make
passion.
a difference.
Yes, definitely.
Well, and thank you so much for the wealth of information you brought to us. And we are wrapping up, and we are having our next show. Yes, Wednesday, May 19th, same time, same bat channel.
Yep.
And we are having a return guest, Dal Art. And the title will be Where Art Thou? Who will be coming to talk to the arts and vision and her creativity, as well as giving us advice on how best to incorporate that in your business. So make sure you tune in on May 19th.
It'll be a fascinating discussion on art. We'd love to close with a quote. We're going to close with a quote from Lady Bird Johnson, who was the wife of President Johnson. And I love this quote. It says, "The environment is where we all meet, where we all have a mutual interest. It is the one thing all of us share." Lady Bird Johnson.
And with that, thank you so very much, Susan, one more time.
Thank you, Susan.
My pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
And we shall see you next month on May 19th. Take care, everyone.
See you next month. Bye-bye.